What do a Bangladeshi chef, a crazy vicar, and a millionaire inventor have in common? Let me show you. Hello and welcome. My name is Michael, and this is the Newcastle House Hotel in Roughbury in Northumbria. Northumbria is in the north of England, on the border country with Scotland. And Chris, the owner of the pub, asked me if I'd get some aerial shots of his pub while I was there. He's a bit of a drone pilot, and it's got a claim to fame because it's got the only Bengali restaurant in town, which is nice because there are no fast food chains in this part of the world. You won't find a McDonald's or a Burger King or anything like that because it's remote. It's got a population of 2,000 people and it's lovely. People come here for the walking trails, as you can see all around this area. You've got lovely, lovely walking trails for people to go on. And Northumbria National Park is close by, so you've got some great walking places for people who like to go walking and trekking. The town is situated beside the Coquette River, and there have been people living here for thousands and thousands of years because the banks of the river are very low here and you can get across, so it's a natural fording point. So the place was always very popular with humans, basically. Now this church over here is from the 1850s, it's a rebuild, but there was an old church here before this one, and going right back to the 16th century, this part of England was notorious for what they called the Reivers. These were wandering bands of villains who'd go and tear up the local towns and local communities because there was no law, basically. You know, we're talking about the 14th, 15th century until this guy came along. His name was Bernard Gilpin, and he decided that he's going to clean up the town and the north of England. There was a lot of controversy about Bernard Gilpin. He was a very famous guy, very important in his time. And he came along, basically, he was a magistrate, and he picked up the gauntlet. Something like one of these 16th century gauntlets was placed above the door of the church, which meant that the person who put it there was challenging anyone to a duel, which was legal at that time. Bernard Gilpin picked it up and said, okay, bring it on. Nobody challenged him, and peace reigned throughout the realm, apparently. The town is very picturesque, and you'll find mostly 18th and 19th century buildings, some older, but they're all made with local stone, and they look just beautiful and very photogenic. You would consider this place, in modern parlance, as very Instagrammable. The cross you can see there is known by two names, the Roughbury Cross or the Armstrong Cross, and it's a memorial to the industrialist Lord Armstrong, who lived close by, just a mile up the road in Craigside, and it was a memorial to thank him for his contribution to the town, basically. He employed a hell of a lot of people. Roughbury is 26 miles northwest of Newcastle upon Tyne, and we're going to now go a mile north out of town towards Craigside and Lord Armstrong's place, and you can see the kind of stuff that he put together. That's his wife, Margaret. Craigside is managed by the National Trust. This is Craigside House that Armstrong built in the 1850s, and it's a magnificent building, and the gardens and the land all around it is just superbly done. Everywhere you look, it just reminds me of North America or Canada with the lakes and the trees. You've got giant sequoia, you've got Scotch pine, you've got all kinds of things. He built two lakes to run the hydro power system that made the house fully electric. It was in fact the first hydro powered electric house in the world. Everywhere you look, like the bridges and every vantage point gives you a beautiful view of the house and the land surrounding. There's a few walking trails around the estate. You've got easy, medium and hard, depending on your level of fitness. But there's also a bus service that goes every 15 minutes. It takes people with disabilities around so they can get around to see the place as well. But everywhere is designed for you to sit and look and just admire the place. That clock tower, by the way, is a church, I do believe. What we're looking at here are the terraces. The place was self-sufficient. That thing is actually a way of telling the time, believe it or not. And yeah, the place was self-sufficient in food. They had their own greenhouses, or what they would call orangeries in those days, on these terraces, south-facing terraces. And so they had fresh produce all through the year. Again, you can see we've got alpine plants, we've got water features, mushrooms. You've got exotic plants here as well that grow that you wouldn't think would grow here. But we've got a walled garden, so the walled garden actually creates a kind of Mediterranean microclimate. The estate is obviously very picturesque, but you've got to remember Armstrong was an engineer, an inventor, so everything had a function. Everything was done for a reason. The water features especially were, part and parcel of the irrigation system or the power supply. Look at the size of that tree. Well, that concludes our little tour of Rothbury and the surrounding area. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Now remember, at the beginning of the video I asked you a question. What do a Bangladeshi chef, a crazy vicar and a millionaire inventor have in common? The answer is they were all outsiders and they came to live in Rothbury.